Make sure I am recording. Welcome back to another episode of the jankityasspodcast. I don't need these headphones. I don't know why I had them on for whatever. Oh, because I was testing to make sure all this shit worked. But we're good. So, what is this? Number 69 now. Nice. That's the title. Nice. Well, I think maybe it'll be like a double title. I think. But, so anyways, as always, it's just me and Tom. Again, we're talking about some other different stuff. I actually already made the description down because I was filling this shit out. Yeah, about hunting and working in venues and metal and shit. It's in the description. So, of course, keep watching. And, sorry, I'm hearing noises outside. While I'm doing that, more beer time. This time I've got the... this is from Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company. Dude, wow. That is blown the fuck out. Doom Tree. There we go. Cold style lager beer. With elderflower and lemon zest. So, I will basically be doing what every dad has starting their kid that they're going to do and wash their mouth out with soap. Kind of. Not quite. Okay, a little ASMR for you beer guys. Oh, yeah. And gals. You never know. The Kolsch's are typically pretty light, so that's what I'm expecting here. Light and dry. It's got some interesting fruitiness to it. And also, as always, we got something to pour it in. Oh, shit. Little bit of a spill, but not that much. So I'm doing this with opposite hands for some fucking reason. Alright, but we're good here. And that is extreme. Well, I'm bubbling up already. Ooh, nice and foamy. God damn it. It always slows things down. And I still got like half a can left too, so. Alright, here we go. There we go. So yeah, oh. Oh, that was in collaboration with. So the actual company is Fonta Flora Brewery, which I would imagine is also, North Carolina, actually. Same thing, right? That's East Coast. We're West Coast. Who cares? But if you're East Coast, I guess check them out. I'm sure they got some other cool stuff in here too. This is actually pretty good though. It's not too. You know what? I'm gonna let this sit. Hopefully the foam will die out a bit. And as always, if you haven't already done so already, go to the corner, like and subscribe to Multi-Murdy Media. You will get this playlist that you're watching now, which is the video format to my podcast, the jankityasspodcast. You will also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer, which is which I'm calling my video game playthroughs as streamed through Twitch. It's a little choppy, but whatever. There's nothing I can do about it. It's through the PS4 network, so blame them. So currently, I don't really have anything new up. I just got some old playthrough videos from Fallout 4, which I still have to get back in and continue eventually. However, I am currently working on playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I will have about 15 videos in the bank already, and of course, still working on more. But what you guys need to know is that the first one, I will start the series on October 2nd, which is also conveniently happens to be my birthday. So it's going to be on Saturdays that I will be releasing that series. Whenever I get back to working through Fallout 4 again, that's going to be When was it? That was on Fridays. And then the last playlist that you will get if you subscribe to my channel is the Poncho's Paint Booth, which is all my mostly hobbies and painting and stuff like that. As of this moment, and that's on Thursdays that comes out. At this moment, I'm currently digging through, working on some Necron Destroyers. Let me see if I can give you a nice, better. It's about half done. And I've got some other characters and stuff that I need to finish up because I'm finally doing my first tournament this weekend ever, which is second Saturday of September of this year, which is this month. And I haven't been in a tournament since January of last year, so it's been a while. I've had a few games here and there. I've been in a couple of our local leagues and stuff, and this is also just a local tournament as well, so it's not high stakes or anything. But yeah, the last thing I played was the Vegas Open, which is kind of like the end of the season for the tournament circuit that I'm normally in. So that'll be fun. And it looks like our head is gone. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nice and tardy. And I'm not normally a big Kolsch guy, but I mean, you know, everything else that I saw on the app that I usually order from, which is Tavar. Again, I haven't mentioned them in a while, but yeah, a lot of the stuff that they have right now is like sours and stuff like that. I'm not really into that, and also a lot of strong IPAs as well, which I'm kind of starting to come around. Not as much, but I'm getting there. I'll always be for lagers and brown ales, personally. But, anywho, for now, I'll let you guys go for a little bit, and we'll get back to me and Tom continuing on from last week, actually. And then I will come back in with some more articles, as we usually do. So, sit tight and enjoy. That and some Cheeto crust pizza or whatever.
Now you're just reminding me of when I was a broke grad student.
Yeah, I remember. One thing I didn't do was when I went home. It was also the same weekend as the state fair.
Oh yeah.
Which, well, I mean, I didn't really go because A, I didn't really care that much, and B, you know, my mom can't really do stuff anyway, and she wouldn't care for
going there.
Yeah. And it's like all concerts and stuff too. Actually, it was funny, the last night was the headliner was Nelly.
No
of all
shit.
people, yeah. Like Louisiana, Nelly. But well, it also kind of sucked because like all the bars around town are basically just empty.
Oh,
just
yeah.
like the one weekend that we actually get concerts in town.
Yeah.
More or less. But
so yeah, nobody's wasting their time at the bar, which they're doing any other day of the week.
I remember too, because like one of the bars, they have a whole back section that they literally just had it all closed off.
Huh.
But which I just realized is probably the most boring statement I just said, but today
You've had your moments.
well, bar was closed.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Yeah. And I wore an onion on my hip, which of course was the style at the time.
Yes. It was very sad, I think.
Yeah.
But
I can't quite remember the last time I cried as a man.
But no, I remember one of the things that in like the concessions or whatever, I remember one thing that was always pretty popular was we'd have the walking tacos.
Walking tacos.
Yeah, so think like instead of tortilla, they would take like a single Fritos bag, cut the top off, and then just kind of like put everything in there with the Fritos and mix it up, and you would walk around with it.
Huh. Like would the tortilla be in there, or would you like squeeze it out of it like a bag of yogurt?
No, so it would be they would have they would I guess like I don't know if they would either dump out the Fritos or just leave them in there, but then they would just mix up the Fritos with like the meat and lettuce and cheese and all that stuff, and then just kind of put it back in like a deviled egg, kind of.
All right. I'm not opposed to trying one of these.
Well, I mean, it's just a taco with Fritos.
It doesn't matter.
It's nothing. Yeah.
I'm also just generally hungry right now because I'm trying to not eat as much food, which means I am therefore hungry.
Fair enough. The point being is that it's also kind of akin to prison food when you really think about it, but with more normal ingredients.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. For example, a human ear.
Yeah. Although I will say, I remember back when I was still a kid, there was one year where there was a guy who he had like his own fuck, what am I trying to say, like his own concession booth, and his whole thing was, I guess he like shot an elk once and just made like a fuck ton of burgers and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those were good.
Actually, it's funny. Yeah, when I was living and working in Wisconsin, our contract, who happened just to be basically my boss's dad, who hired our team out to clear his woods. He and his son had killed. Both of them had killed like 150-pound buck or 200-pound buck in the winter. It's just massive animal. And so when they had gotten all the meat processed, all of this stuff, they had animal completely cleaned out. So they were sitting on something pretty like 200 to 400 pounds of meat, like and it was all processed different ways. So they had venison chunks, they had ground venison, they had venison jerky sticks. Oh my God, those things were so good. I was addicted to them like crack cocaine. And he was like, and it was funny because he's like, yeah, we're legally not allowed to sell this, so you boys want half your you boys want half your food taken care of, because we're not going to finish all of this between the three of us. And we were like, yep. And let me tell you, man, venison burgers, so good. Ground venison and ground venison burgers are like some of the best things I've ever had on this earth. It's like, I get why people hunt now.
I wonder, was it because they didn't like have a butcher shop process it, or?
No, they had it. They took it to the local butcher. So they took the two bucks, they skinned them, brought everything else to the butcher, and paid the butcher to process it all. And so they had all of this processed meat that they then immediately froze, and kept it for the summer, knowing ahead of time that they were going to have a crew of guys working out there, and that they weren't going to be able to finish all of it anyway. And you really shouldn't have meat that's been frozen for too long. So
yeah,
they want to take advantage of it.
I guess I never really thought about. I wonder if that's just like a general rule, like you do kind of have to keep all of it.
I think it depends on where you are and like whether or not they have rules to this effect. Like, I've never gotten a hunting license. I've always wanted to. I mean, hell, I've always wanted to actually straight up go hunting. I've never really had that chance. But from what I understand, I think it's like, if you're actually into hunting, it's one of those things where there's like this respect garnered into it, or at least there should be if you're not a complete douche nozzle. And so when you kill an animal, you don't want to waste anything. So some people will just get the head mounted, so they'll donate the rest, or they'll sell the rest, or I mean, what I would imagine I could see myself doing is, maybe I'd keep the pelt, I'd get the meat processed, or I'd get the stuff to do that myself. Get like certain kind of butchering equipment so I could do it my own way. And then the rest of the stuff, like I think like the bones and the tendons and everything else, I think there's like ways to donate that, like, or to give that or to sell that off to like places that use those kind of animal products. Like the joke, right, is horse glue factories. There's that, or like certain, like, what is it? Bone powder can be used for gelatin or something like that. I mean, it just depends. It probably just depends on the animal you're taking out and what their ability to have their products recycled be, you know? But that's just my thought process.
So I know the only other, I guess, like, person that I kind of know about who does kind of deals with that is whenever I listen to, Rogan every once in a while, because he goes out and hunts.
Oh,
but I guess he just, like, gives a lot of it away to people come through like, hey, man, you want some elk meat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I guess it's not selling.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is that I think that's one of the other legalities is that when you do those kind of free range hunts, you're not allowed to sell it for commercial purposes. Like that's something I've heard, and I think that's a way of ensuring that, like, well, Amazon just got into hunting, so all the animals in the world are dead. You know, it's like to help encourage. You know, there are, though, like sometimes depending upon certain animal populations and regions, they do sometimes put bounties up. So, for example,
oh yeah,
I know that there's like crow bounties depending upon, like, basically if like they'll say, hey, we got too much of this animal, and so we got 50 bounties for this kind of species of animal out there, and so like they'll send people out, like, you know, people will go out and go hunt and like try to get those bounties, and it's, you know, not too many people either because it's usually a limited number of them. But unless it's like just a standing bounty of certain kinds of animals where it's like if we don't take care of them, they will just go crazy and be everywhere.
Like Texas and their hogs.
Texas hogs.
You ever seen how they hunt those?
No, actually, I haven't.
They don't actually hunt them. They just get into a helicopter and, you know,
just like freaking
chase it straight up.
Damn, I did not know
that's
that.
what it takes to keep them from just running over everything.
Damn. I mean, I know certain animal species repopulate quickly, but that's nuts if that's what they're actually legally allowed to do. And not even just because it's Texas.
Like, it's required, pretty much.
Well, also, like, depending on a pig, man, like, hunting boar, that shit's crazy, man. Like, if you fuck that up, you're dead. Like, those things will straight up kill you.
Hence helicopter.
Yeah, hence me being half the goddamn earth away.
That'd be kind of fun, but
yeah. Honestly, I could just, you know,
on somebody else's dollar.
Yeah,
oh my.
That's just somebody who like did that because they wanted to relive some of those nastier knob memories. I'm in Saigon.
Well, I know Ted Nugent's one of the big ones who does that.
Does he really?
Quite a bit, yeah. Goes out and hunts some boar. Keep them off the crops.
Keep them off the crops.
Plus, I'm sure a good herd will fuck up your cows or whatever, too.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty easily.
And
that's just the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright guys, let's take a wee little break, but not really. See what's going on in the world today. And as you can see, I still got my my beer here. This is the Dune Tree Kolsch. It's a little bit in the camera. There we go. Oh, there's some ASMR for you guys. It's funny because I was at a friend's going away party about a month ago or something like that, and I've had more people that I know tell me that, like, hey, I've been listening to the podcast a little bit, and he was telling me that he was watching on YouTube here, as you guys should be doing. So again, go subscribe, keep up. And he was telling me that he was watching on YouTube, and I guess like his wife was in the other room, and I was pouring, and I didn't like really say anything. Apparently, she was just like, "Oh, dead air. Better fix that." And he's probably listening right now, so you know who you are. I'm sure a bunch of you have the same thing. God, my fucking nose itches for some reason. That's one of the. That's one thing I don't miss about at my venue job. I used to work the barricades a lot during raves and stuff before I started doing the VIP section, because I would have the big ass bass speakers just right behind me, just blah, blah, stuff like that, and it would just shake everything in your body, which in my case was always my nose hairs, so my nose would just like itch like a motherfucker for like 3 or 4 hours straight. So I'd just be sitting there in front of all the audience and stuff, just like rubbing my nose like a crackhead or whatever. But today I don't have that excuse this time around. I don't know what it is. What I do have is beer, and our first article of the night, which is number 1, Kumail Nanjiani ensured Eternal's hero rejected brown dude stereotypes like nerd and or terrorist. I mean, I'm sure he, whenever he had his meeting with Kevin Feige, he was probably like, just please, whatever you do, don't make me look like that fucking Harold and Kumar. But hey, good for him. And of course, I mean, as we've all seen in like the last couple years, he's got basically jacked as well. And I'm not entirely sure what his character does in the movie, but I don't. It looks like it's gonna be a good movie. I saw the I finally saw the trailer, like the official trailer for it in the movies, which I saw because I would see Shang-Chi yesterday night, which is also a pretty good movie, and we'll probably talk about it here a bit in, not this week, but the next week whenever Tom and I come back around and meet up again. But yeah, anytime you can break stereotypes, it's usually a good thing. So let's see what we got next. Speaking of hero movies, Suicide Squad's Nathan Fillion wants to join the Marvel's alphaflight. So I was not aware. Okay, actually, whenever I saved this article, I thought they were still talking about just like one DC to another DC type of thing, but yeah, so alphaflight is kind of like, well, it's like a side team. It's like the Canadian Avengers, and they had Wolverine for a little bit, I guess, in like the past comics or whatever, because he's also Canadian. He's a short Canadian dude, but he's Wolverine. And then I don't really know the other characters. I think they have like a Captain Canada or something like that, of course. And then I know they have like a Sasquatch type of dude who's like a See, I know in Marvel in Canada they have like a race of creatures that are the Wendigo. They're basically they're kind of like werewolves minus the going back to human part, and the idea is they just kind of run around and tear people apart, and then but the guy that they have on the Alpha Flight is kind of like a humanized version of that somehow. I don't know. He's like a half a Wendigo or something. I don't know how it works. I'm sure that's exactly who Nathan Fillion's thinking of trying to play as well, because why not? And I mean, also DC kind of did it the other way too, which Yeah, because James Gunn, who directed the newest Suicide Squad, was also the director for I'm blanking, Guardians of the Galaxy as well, and he pulled a bunch of actors over for that movie as well. It's like the I don't know if you remember the Weasel from the Suicide Squad. He was the one Ravager guy who kind of like stays loyal to Yondu, who also Michael Rooker is also in the Suicide Squad. He's a prodigy who gets his head blown off like immediately. A lot of people die like immediately in the movies. Even Fillion's character is maybe dead. He gets his arms blown off, basically. Or not basically, but literally. So it'll be interesting to see if this goes through. I mean, Marvel knows what they're doing, or at least Kevin Feige does. So more of that is always going to be better. Also, more articles is always going to be better, which is... Oh, here's a fun one. China to ban sissy boy band reality talent shows as cultural crackdown continues. So, I saw this immediately after they came out with the thing about how they're like anybody under 18 in China is only going to be allowed like 3 hours of gameplay during the week to play video games. And then this happened, so it'll just be, yeah, I mean, they're, as you say, going out of pocket. So this is basically cutting out like all K-pop is going to be off their TV, and I'm sure they have like their own, or had their own bands and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's, yeah, they're going insane over there, basically, or at least the government is, and then probably soon, the people as well. Seems like they're trying to be like a bigger North Korea. It would seem like, who they actually, I think they support still as well. That's the or at least the government does, the CCP. Also, K-pop is pretty sissy. I mean, look at these guys. So let's see what we got next. Speaking of movies, The Accountant is finally getting a sequel. And that is a movie with Ben Affleck, as you can see there, he basically plays a guy with severe autism, who's good with numbers and also good at beating the shit out of people. And that's pretty much what he does. And, well, like, the movie revolves around, he does bookkeeping for, bad people for lots of money, or whoever's willing to pay that much. And then if for whatever reason, they break his code of honor or whatever, like they're trying to hurt some innocent person or whatever, while he's on the job, then he goes and, fucks him up. And that's pretty much what the last movie is about. I'm also interested to see if they bring back Joe Bernthal, who played his brother, and who they were reunited at the end. And it's kind of like the same deal, except his character didn't have autism. He was just kind of a dickhead. So I would assume that they're both going to be in there again. Because that was also kind of a pivotal thing, was like, family. Because you also find out like why he is in the position that he's in. As far as oh shit. Only one yawn today. That's pretty good. Anyways, let's get into our last article, which is a little bit more Marvel. What If takes the MCU's most exhausted trope to a new extreme. So this was last week was episode number 4. It was basically about what if Doctor Strange goes evil, essentially, because so what they did in this, because as y'all know, in the original movie and story or whatever, he gets in a car crash and his hands get he loses his hands, basically, more or less, like they don't work. And then, on his quest to, go heal himself, he becomes Doctor Strange, the wizard, or the sorcerer, actually. But in this episode, it was instead of his hands, what's her face? Rachel McAdams' character. Did I say that right? Well, her character dies. And then, so the idea is that in this episode, after the events of, the Doctor Strange movie, then he goes on kind of a quest to try and bring her back. And, he realizes that he needs like more and more power to do so because it's like a fixed point in time or whatever. But in the end, he ends up, spoiler alerts, by the way, cover your ears, but he completely destroys his universe. And that's the end. So it's kind of like the one that goes wrong, right? And then I know Marvel Zombies is coming up soon. I think that's the next one, actually. And then, let's see, the Marvel shows, they haven't had more than like 6 episodes each, so I think it's gonna be Zombies, and then one more, maybe. Or they might just cut it off there as well. Who knows? But anyhow, that is all of the articles. Let's come back to me. Solo. There we go. So that's it. We're going to go back to me and Tom. Continue on our discussion of, metal and venues and fun stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm going to finish this up. And I'm actually going to get back to painting. Got a bunch of characters and stuff that I have to finish up by the end of the week here. So, wow. Still a kid, apparently. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, I got a attorney coming up pretty soon here that I got to get ready for. My first one in almost 2 years. So, I will do that. And I will leave you guys to it and keep watching, please. Just keep watching. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. Let's see. Yeah, I've never done any hunting, but speaking of commutes and stuff like that, they've had me working down at 5 Points down in Irvine a couple times.
Oh dang.
Yeah, I had some I had some last minute shows, some last minute shows that I was booked to work on this last weekend. Yeah.
Oh nice. Anybody cool?
I had Friday was Coheed and Cambria.
Oh damn,
down there.
Nice.
Yeah, they're still around. It was their 20th anniversary this year, actually.
Yet.
So they've been around for a while. Emo's still here.
I mean, dude, hell, we've been around for a while.
True. Well, yeah, literally, but
I mean, still, but like that. Yeah, that means they came out when like we were in our teens, man, like early teens. Shit.
It was funny too, because like it had been so long since I heard them that I didn't actually even remember what their big breakout song sounded like.
Oh, it's that one. It's like that one kind of almost operatic song. It kind of tells like a story. Da, 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 da. Yeah,
that one. Yeah, I remember I was in the break. He was like, "Oh, that's what it was."
Yeah, perfectly represented.
But
you call me back.
That one.
Yeah, I remember it.
And then, and then Saturday night I was at the Wiltern here in K-Town for. It was a smaller show, but it was kind of like a sort of a goth type of thing.
Nice.
Like think like a modern day The Cure.
Ooh.
Or something along those lines with like more synth and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Future.
It was the band was called Cold Cave. They're bad.
May have heard of them. I'm not sure. It sounds weirdly familiar, but only because I just listened to a bunch of random shit.
There you go.
But
then I actually just got put on for the first. I got to go back down to Irvine for Megadeth and Lamb of God.
Dude.
So that'll be a fun one. I haven't seen either of them yet either. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn, what a lineup! Megadeth and Lamb of God. Two titans. Honestly, like, say what you will about Lamb of God, or say what you won't, but God, that guy's voice is just like so good. And like he's like, yeah, I really wanted to be a punk singer. I just ended up getting into metal. And it's like, screw you and your talent.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, give some of it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take your metal voice. You go back into punk. Thanks.
Dude, I always every once in a while I think about like how different my life would be if I could do like a good metal voice. I think we've already talked about this before, but
we kind of touched on this.
Yeah,
but
I would not be here.
Yeah, I would not be here. Yeah. I would be somewhere getting late, like daily. No, I think it's one of those things, though. I mean, having a solid vocalist is key, but I feel like there's like two other really key components to having a breakout metal band. So it's a solid vocalist. You need solid instruments behind you. Like, I don't care how good you are as a vocalist. If you have a crappy band who can't execute, you're fucked. And then this last one's gonna sound like, what are you doing? But like, I feel like you need to have like some kind of like, there's like got to be some kind of like musical spark, right? Something that just is not like, oh yeah, I can read sheet music, I can play music, but like there's this element of creativity, right? Because all of these metal bands that we really love and that create these genres or deepen these genres or subgenres, like have some kind of cool take on the idea. So it's like it would be like finding that, you know. Now, as someone who is a solid metal vocalist, that's easy. You just be like, hey, I'm good at vocals. Who's got a cool band I can do stuff for?
Well, yeah. I know what you mean. There has to be something that's like kind of puts them above the water a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like I feel like it's so easy to like. I feel like there's so many metal bands out there like that. So many that we've never heard of.
Oh yeah. And well, there's so many bands of everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even so.
And so, and like, how many of them too are like these obscure hole in the wall bands that have amazing potential. They're basically a garage metal band, but their sound is solid aside from their production value. And then they don't push through and stick around, so they never make another album again. So they never really make it big. So they're only really known by like aficionados or like people who are just literally like myself, usually just craving listening to something new.
Well, I mean, well, in that case, you also get just a bunch of shitheads who can't get along.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, because I know a lot of times, like, especially if I go to like a smaller show or something like that, you can tell, like, oh, these guys are just trying to like be part of the genre or whatever,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, you know what, let's try something a little new.
Or like even do like let's do our take on the genre, right?
Or that too.
Yeah.
Or some kind of a fusion of genres.
Fusion is usually where I find some of the coolest stuff, like and that's all I gotta say about that. Like I don't know, I can't think of like an example right off the top of my head, but like I feel like things that can kind of mix.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean, general audience. No, like people who can fuse two kind of concepts together. Like for example, like I mean that's all metal is. It's a combination of metal plus something. And metal just being rock plus rock, right? According to that formula that one guy came up with. He said somebody said it was like, he's like, yeah, if you want to ask
squared.
it's like, he's like, if you want to ask me what hard rock is, it's rock that has more rock. I think that's how it went. If you want to ask me what hard rock is, it's rock that has more rock. If you want to ask me what metal is, it's hard rock that has more hard rock. And it's kind of true, right? Like that's why you see like sometimes these bands like Shine Down or like of I mean, what's another classic 90s one? Or like 90s and 2000s I felt like was full of all of like Breaking Benjamin, like all of these like bands that just kind of tread the line of like, we're a hardcore hard rock band. And it's like, yeah, and you're opening for this band which is clearly way more metal than you guys are. But like it was those bands that ended up being gateway bands for other stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
You know,
You definitely need that.
Oh yeah, for sure. You need the gateway drugs. That's how you get the children.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and then I just have some other stuff. Just some other shows coming up later. Some more raves, more smaller things. I've definitely been doing a lot more. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more shows at the Wiltern now.
Nice.
Too, since our like I was kind of saying before, the whatchamacallit, like our scheduling process is a bit more streamlined.
Nice, yeah.
Between venues and stuff like that. And yeah, like right now, whenever I go into my schedule, I have Palladium and Wiltern events that I can like put down my availability for.
Yeah.
5 points, not so much yet at all, because that's well, they usually don't have that much stuff.
Yeah.
But now they kind of got a direct line to me too, so that's nice.
I just thought of this. What's the weirdest show you've ever worked? And it could be weird because of what happened while you were working, or weird because of the band.
The weirdest show I've ever worked. That is a tough one.
Or maybe let's change it a bit. Maybe instead of the weirdest, it could be the absolute craziest, like just absolutely nuts. However you want to take that. Or maybe even like one that was so boring it was like embarrassing, like maybe like the cringiest show you've ever been to. Like, what's like a standout show that kind of takes one of those buttons?
I would say, well, I have told you about when I worked I already lost it. Parkway Drive, both times.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty wild. Just because, I mean, it was literally just nonstop catching people coming over the barricade. That got tiring. I think I like tweaked my back on one of those. But I think probably one of the wildest shows I've seen was when we had Excision. It's like real heavy dubstep.
Oh yeah.
type of thing. And I didn't really have to do that. This was a 3-night deal too that we had. Completely sold out, the whole thing. The fucking medic area was like basically a triage.
Jesus.
It was that bad. Like they literally had people coming up who were just like, you know, like they were all, you know, fucked up or whatever, and like as soon as they would just see people like just like a whole room full of cots and like people throwing up, and they'd be like, oh, I'm fine, never mind, I'm good.
Just like ODing or like getting slammed on stuff or like.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
But now one of those nights, I had to carry somebody downstairs from one of the balconies, and it was the side that we didn't have an elevator on, so that wasn't that. Yeah, that sucked. And then like he started to wake up right as we were putting him in the wheelchair at the bottom. It's like no.
Put me back. Put me back in, coach.
Now you're freezing up on me.
Oh, I am.
As long as you still hear me.
I can hear you.
But what was I gonna say? And then also trying to think. Oh, I know another one that sucked. I think I told you about this. It was when we had. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh shit! You
No, yeah, you're
quiet as shit.
No, I'm just listening.
But no, we had Oh, now you're back. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
But we had 4 nights for Bikini Kill. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Sounds weirdly familiar, but no.
They're like a they're like an all female punk band, but they're from like the 90s.
Oh.
So.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
That sounds familiar, actually.
So this was kind of like a whatchamacallit, like a reunion type of show, or like they got the band back together, something like that.
Yeah.
And so they were cool, but then each night they had different openers, like a couple different openers, and there was one night, I won't say the band, but it was like an all black, all female type of punk band.
Okay.
And the show was fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and also this was like pre-COVID type of stuff. This was the year before, and so the deal that they had, because like every time you know, there's openers and stuff, obviously they have their own guests that they want to bring on too, and depending on the show, or well like the tour will only give out so many all access passes, and then a lot of times they'll just give them like VIP areas or whatever, and stuff like that. So, well, a lot of times, like we do have to sometimes deal with that being a problem, or like, oh, but I'm, you know, with the band, but yeah, but they only gave you a VIP, and you got into the show for free anyway, so you know, fuck off.
Right.
But no, I remember this night they tried. There was one opener that tried bringing like all their people backstage, and none of them had any sort of backstage access. And I was down there on the curtain too. I had to deal with all this shit, and so yeah, I had to have them all getting into my face and stuff like that, and it caused enough of a problem that like the tour staff, or the tour staff and crew actually ended up kicking the band out.
Oh damn.
Of the venue later on, and oh yeah, it got even worse. Like one of them was like trying to get back in again, and she ended up being like, you know, oh well, fuck you, punk rock, yada yada, and she like took her overalls off and just pissed on the artist ramp, like right in front of our guy there.
Jesus.
Like, all right, well, you want to know why you were kicked out? Here you go.
Yeah. You can be punk and also not a dick. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, she didn't have a dick, so.
Well, yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was also the same crew member of ours who passed away from COVID earlier too. So, you know.
Yeah.
Man had to deal with some shit in his day.
Yeah, Jesus. Now, He's at a better concert venue in the sky now.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
right. The big one.
Big
I
concert
think-
venue.
I think probably the worst one of, well, let's see. No, okay. The worst, the absolute worst one I worked is back in my early days before I was even back when I was working for like a third party company, and before our venues were in house. We had one show that was kind of like more of a DJ night type of show, and yeah, that one we had like people try to rush the ticket line, and we ended up having to shut it down completely. Yeah, that was very bad. And like there were people like opening up the doors to try and let people in.
Yikes!
Shit like that. And that was yeah, at the time that was like 18 and over. So yeah, we had all the indignant shithead high schoolers from the city. This is LA talking about. And yeah, I know that show, like they tried many times to try and come back, and they eventually got invited back, and they kind of had their shit together that time, aka 21 and over only.
Yeah.
And then the other, probably the other like bad event, well not so much bad, but just kind of like what the fuck, was one that I actually didn't even work, but it was like a feminist movement event kind of convention thing that they had. And well, the thing that was fucked up is they were like, there has to be absolutely no male workers inside of the building for the event. Yeah, that kind of feminist, like fourth wave, whatever,
like
whatever they're called.
We've double backed around and now we're misogynist again.
Yeah, it was like, so basically none of us. All right, cool. I think they had like 3 people inside, but I was not there for that.
We're gonna end discrimination by discriminating.
Damn right.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, and then everything else is kind of not been as bad as that. But I mean, there's definitely been some other wild nights here and there.
Yeah.
I know one show that I wish I hadn't missed was in that last fall before everything shut down, when we were doing just like back-to-back nights. One night that I wasn't able to make was when they had the roast of Bruce Willis.
Oh, nice.
But when I actually saw it, I was glad that I wasn't there.
Because it kind of sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. It's like obviously they had Jeff Ross, he's always good.
Yeah.
And then Nikki Glazer was also always good.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just like whatever.
Yeah. There's nobody else of note.
Actors trying to be funny. Well, no, they were of note, but they weren't
funny.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
Of note, remembering for their performance, I guess is what I should say.
Exactly. But yeah, so I didn't have to do it. I actually, I'm kind of surprised. I haven't actually worked a lot of comedy shows, like at all. I think the only other one that I had there at the well, let's see. Yeah, the only other one I had there at the Palladium was when we had, it was like that Dave Chappelle and John Mayer thing that they did. I don't know if you kind of remember.
I mean, I remember Chappelle popping in and out. I think I remember when he did that with Mayer, but I may not have.
It wasn't it wasn't recorded at all. But it was like just a special once in a lifetime type of show that they did. Well, twice, 2 nights actually.
But, twice in a lifetime.
But no, it was like they what was it? Yeah, like Mayer came out, did some songs, and then Dave did a whole set, and then they kind of came out at the same time and sort of bullshitted for like an hour or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I remember there was one night because I I was sitting on the end of the stage that they had, and he had set up one of those deals where like it comes out and then it's a small round, and then that's where he kind of performed or what have you. And I remember there was at one point I was sitting in the back corner before where it comes out of our normal stage area.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was sitting there and I see some guy going back to his seat, obviously just completely sloshed, you know.
Yeah.
And like one of those people who are like, you know, oh, I don't actually know anything about comedy, but you know, I'm here because Dave's famous type of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so so apparently he thinks it's a great idea to like offer his vape pen up to Chappelle. Like, yeah, take it. I see some random ass dude holding a sharp object up to our client, basically, or whatever. And I like fully tense, and I was about to take this guy out, and then I see Dave like sees me. He's like, "No, man, I don't want your fucking herpes. Go sit down."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just a pen.
Thank God.
I mean, you never know. It could be like one of those, you know,
dart
pens or some shit. Yeah.
Secret agent explodey pens.
Like, I got him. Got the black man.
You see my high-tech James Bond vape pen of death.
Damn right. You know, I gotta be honest, there's times I almost, like, anytime I go for my delivery job and I have to, like, pick up something from a vape shop, it's like, I almost want to start vaping just because it's like, you know, all the, like, the colors and shit on the shelves, but I gotta remember that's all bullshit.
First off, getting into vaping, like, and you get into like the actual real stuff of it, like the gear is expensive and it's annoying as shit to maintain. Even if you get the simpler stuff or the more easy to use stuff, it's all expensive to get into. But even if you keep it to the good old disposable vape pens, I'm here to tell you, after 13 years of being addicted to nicotine, it ain't worth it. Like, if you don't have an inkling to it, don't get into it, like, at all, because that is a shit ton of money. Now, if you were just insanely rich and just don't care, go for it. Who cares? I don't give a shit. Just, you know, remember, sometimes it gives you cancer depending on what kind you do, but, like, you know, and you know, if you want to do that kind, who cares? It's a free country. That's the whole fucking point. You can do whatever you want. But it is such an expensive habit, and man, let me tell you, depending upon some people can, like, I had a buddy in college who was able to smoke days and days and days and days and then just drop it, and it meant nothing to him, and he was fine. He didn't get withdrawal. Maybe like
probably didn't have any nicotine.
What?
He might have not had any nicotine in there.
No. We bummed cigarettes off each other.
Oh.
You know, it was definitely nicotine. But it was one of those things where, like we both quit for a week, and at the end of the week, he'd be like, "Oh man, it'd be really nice to have one right now." And then I'm over here, like, contemplating murder because that tree looked at me wrong. You know, like that's, like, it just depends on who you are. Some people, you just get you try it, you're fucked. You're just kind of locked in. It's like heroin. People say, like, if you try it, or meth. I think you try it, you're addicted already. Your brain immediately goes to the addict stage. And heroin, and apparently doesn't bond as strongly to your brain as nicotine does. So yeah, I'd say just avoid it, man. Because worst case, you're spending a shit ton of money. No, best case, you're spending a shit ton of money. Worst case, you're spending a shit ton of money, and you're making yourself dependent on something that'll make you go fucking roid rage if you don't get it.
Oh, and you also look like a douche.
Yeah, depending.
Too.
Well, depend. Oh yeah, if you have one of those big fat vape pen things, yeah, you look like it's like at that point, it's like, what graphics card you got, bro? It's like on your RTX.